Hey, you want to swing the club faster? I bet you didn't know that it's not how fast you swing, but how you stop your body. Today we're going to talk about the stopping part of a golf swing. So there's no better feeling knowing that when you wake up in the morning to go play golf, so that you're going to play well. There's no better feeling of hitting good golf shots down the fairway. So my mission today is to help as many people as possible wake up every day feeling good that they're going to go out there and play great because of the single plane swing. All right, welcome to the channel today. I want to talk about something that just really isn't talked about very much in the world of the golf swing. And the reason why is because so few people really understand what really goes on in the motion of the body during a golf swing. Now, I got to admit, I'm not a biomechanics expert. I am a golf teacher who has been digging into the science of body movement. Matter of fact, I had a student reach out to me and said, do you have a background in kinesiology or biology? And I don't, although my parents were educators. My dad is a highly educated professor and my mother was highly educated. I'm from an educational background. However, I'm a golf instructor, player, now teaching for over 20 years that really wants to know why. Why are things occurring in the golf swing? I don't take things like, oh, that if you do this, it produces more speed. I don't take things like that for granted. I want to know why things work in the golf swing. The reason I do that is for a number of reasons. Number one is it helps me become better at what I do. I want to know why things, the cause and effect of things. That's important to me. And I don't want to teach anything that would be not functionally correct, nor maybe even harmful to somebody, or even more importantly, I don't want to be a part of not knowing why things are actually occurring. So there's a reason behind everything I teach when you watch this channel. Today I want to discuss what I find critically important in the golf swing, which is how the body creates the braking system. What I mean by that is how it stops. Now why would I care about how the body stops? Let's look at it from this perspective. And if you talk to anybody about how the body functions, it's a mechanism that has to have two very important things. Movement, obviously, you have to move the body, but you have to stabilize parts of the body as well. Stabilize meaning you stop the parts of the body, and the reason you stop parts of the body is so other parts can utilize that stability to move faster. I'm going to explain that. So here's where we have to go with this, and I'm doing this for you right now because I don't know, it's winter time here where I am. There's not a lot of golf being played outside. It's warm enough maybe this week to hit a few golf balls, but I haven't really hit golf balls outside in about 2 weeks, or maybe even longer. So we're kind of cooped up. We're maybe not getting to play that much, and if you are getting to play golf and you're lucky like that, this is something that you can start really thinking about when you're practicing. But I'm not going to give you, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create natural ways of body function and stopping the body, and I'm going to verify this with some of the places I put the body, and you can practice this. This is directly applicable things you can do in your golf swing. Okay, so let's start from the bottom of a golf swing up, the feet upward into the upper body. And as I do this, when I kind of instruct you from the bottom up, the end goal, end result is speed. Well, if you look at what's happening to produce speed, the fastest part of the golf swing is the hands and the arms produce a majority of the speed in the golf swing. So keep in mind that it doesn't matter who you are, that the hands and the arms and how that the arms and hands move through the golf ball, that is what's producing a majority of the speed in a golf swing. Now I say that because as I talk you from the ground up, what you're going to see is that your arms and hands cannot do that with a golf club if the bottom part of the golf swing is not stable. So the question you must ask is, how do you do that? How do you stabilize from the bottom up to let the arms and hands produce the speed? Now, as I go through that, understand one important thing, that the average person, and this might be you might be out there trying to hit a golf ball and struggling with hitting it fat, struggling with hitting it thin, left, right, slice, hook, fade, and all this result you're getting out there, poor contact, inconsistency, all that is because you lack stability at the bottom of the golf swing, the bottom up. Now, The problem with you in working in that direction is that when you lack stability at the bottom of the golf swing, you are fighting it out with the upper body, and you're sitting here and you're experimenting. You're like, okay, I hit that one fat, turn more. I hit that one a slice, come more from the inside. So what you're doing is you're trying to make compensations in the upper body, but you haven't solved the real problem in the lower body. And I'm only bringing this up because I see this as an instructor all the time. I see people fighting their golf swings. They're fighting themselves on the range because they lack the foundation of the bottom of the swing. Now, I'm not going to get into all the details of grip and address and all that kind of stuff, but let's just talk bottom-up stability. Here's what I expect and I want to see you accomplish in the lower body. We're building a platform down here for the upper body. Okay, so I'm building a platform. However, that doesn't mean it stays stationary. It moves. So I'm going to have pelvis movement in the swing motion, but I want to limit the movement of the pelvis. So what you're going to see as I discuss the swing with you, in any respect that I discuss it, whether I'm talking the arm motion or the lower body motion, I'm trying to put the body in a position that creates movement and it limits the movement. I think that might be the most important point that I can make in this video. You want movement, but you want to limit that movement. You want to bookend that movement. You want to create a range of movement, but you want to stay within its limits. Now, you do that through the positions of the body. I'll give you a quick example. And I'll just use a body position as a metric and a function so you can see this. If I rotate my foot out like this, okay, so I put it, let's say that's a 30-degree rotation, right? I turn the foot out. You can see that allows my knee to function in that direction, okay? So functionally, my foot position, which you can see from this camera above, allows my knee to move forward. See that? So the foot position is allowing a particular movement of my leg. Now, watch. If I keep the foot in this position and I try to turn my pelvis, so I make a pelvis rotation, that is limiting how much that lead knee can go in. See that? So that's creating a little bit of a limitation. Watch this. If I put my foot straight out, I have more range of motion that direction with my pelvis and my knee. If I turn my foot out this way, you see what happens? I have less range of motion. Or it's not less range, but it's less ability to go in that negative direction that we call in biomechanics. So that little demonstration of where my foot is creating a positive or a negative limitation depending on the position I put my foot. Now, you're thinking, Todd, man, you're getting way too detailed on this. But these are very important points because you want to create both movement and limitation in your golf swing. And I don't want you to have to think about it. See, that's the point that this whole video is about, that I can put your body in positions, in your setup position, your bend, your side bend, your feet position like I just discussed. I can put you in positions, and now you've created the positions of the body that force you into these limitations, and you don't have to think about your swing. Okay, so let's just do this, right? So here's what I want you to do. I want your lead foot to have a turn to it, let's say 30 degrees. And to be honest with you, I'd rather have too much than too little. So about 30 degrees in this foot. This foot, it needs a little bit. So that would be straight out. This foot needs a little bit of rotation, just a little bit, because I'm going to have the hip open up slightly. You definitely don't want it turned in because that's going to block the pelvis movement. So a slight bit of turn here, just a tiny bit. And usually I tell people, like, how do you usually walk? You know, if you walk like that, so that's kind of like a walk. And then this foot has a little bit of a turn. Now, what I've just created there is a position and a limitation of lower body. So now, as long as I keep my feet where they're at, I can turn, brace against that leg, and I've created rotation and limitation. Pretty simple, right? So there's the lower body. Now we're going to talk a little bit about that during the swing motion. Now watch this. Upper body. So let's move into upper body positioning. My torso, standing straight up, if I bend forward and go into what we call side bend, see, side bend creates a rotational limitation. If I stay in side bend, I can only rotate this far. If I come out of side bend, see, I can turn more. But if I stay in the side bend, I limit my turn. We're going to combine that with lower body in just a second. So side bend is a limiting factor in rotation, right? So now I have foot position, side bend, and now let's talk arm motion. So now I'm going to take my arm once I'm in side bend, and now I'm going to have torso movement like this. So, but look at my upper arm. It's moving, but it's not rotating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this arm stable and I'm going to rotate my lead hand. So I'm going to move this arm into its full, from the forearm down, from the elbow down, into its full limitation. Now let me walk you from the ground up through a golf swing limitation. Okay, so now my lower body, I have my feet in position, so watch what happens in my lower body. When I swing a golf club, I'm limited in the backswing because of my trail leg brace. That limits how much I can turn, and my lead foot being turned out limits the rotation of the pelvis. Now, when I transition, remember that top view camera where my knee went towards my foot, which creates limitation? My knee goes towards my foot. That creates a limitation. See that? Now, if I keep it there, if I keep this knee in its limited position, knee towards the foot, see that? Towards the foot, I can turn my pelvis, and as long as that foot stays down, see that foot being down? It can roll in, but as long as the foot doesn't lift up, if it stays down, watch what happens. It limits pelvis movement. I can't go further than that with my pelvis. Okay, so this is what's cool about this. So now I've limited this, now watch what happens. Because of side bend of the body, and I'm turning with my side bend, guess what? I've reached the limit. See that? This has a limit, that has a limit, okay? And now watch what happens. Once I hit limitation here, this arm reaches a limit. See that? Reaches a limit. And now let's add the most important element, the golf club. So now let's walk through this with a golf club and watch what just happened. I'm in my rotation. Reach the limit. Limitation on my lead leg. I'm rotating, right? As much as I can. But my lead knee is only letting me go so far, right? Here I come down. My upper body, because of side bend, is reaching its limit. And now the only thing left are the shoulders and the lead arm to square the face. Got it? So there's that limitation. Boom, hit square. And then watch what happens. This is limited. This is limited. So the only I can move now is arms and torso this way. And that's mostly shoulders. So the limitation is starting at the bottom, into the knees, into the pelvis, into the torso, into the rotation, into the lead arm, into the club. And then you square it through. Now, what I just talked you through is the exact sequence, they call it kinematic sequence, in a golf swing. That's a biomechanical term. What I really just showed you, though, is that you didn't have to really do anything consciously in that swing. All you had to do was make sure your positions were correct, that your foot position was correct, that your side bend was correct, that your grip was correct, and then you have to basically hold yourself within those limits. I'm actually moving rotationally as much as I can. I'm actually moving the lead arm as much as I can into its rotation. I'm doing all that stuff. I'm not even trying to consciously do anything in that motion. I've set all the parameters up with proper grip, proper address, proper positions. There's one final thing I think is important talking about, is that I am not trying to stop your body from rotating. I am not trying to reduce your speed. As a matter of fact, the goal in this entire process is optimizing your body's ability to produce speed. So how did that occur? And that was the subject of this video, so let's go through how speed just occurred. If the upper body, including the shoulders and arms and the hands, have to move, that's the major speed producer in the body, and you look at what's actually producing the speed, it comes down to how the hands and the arms move the club through the ball, right? So what you have to do with the body is you have to set the body up in the conditions that allow this to optimize speed and consistency. Because now, if I do it correctly, and I get the body in the correct position with all those limitations I told you about, and then you come down and you hit the golf ball, it's going to return to the same squareness and the same position and the same speed every single time. If you create variables, lift, rotate too much, straighten the leg, lean the foot, come out of side bend, You see, I've added variability. The goal here is to get to impact in a very consistent way with maximum amounts of speed. So watch when I hit this ball here, how you're going to see that lead foot turned out, trail foot on the ground, the side bend of my body, hand in the correct position allows when I get through here, it allows my body to return that club exactly to square, the exact same every single time. Now, one of the things I want to cover as my final note here is the trail foot being on the ground. A lot of people say, well, you're going to lose speed when you do that. There is absolutely no science whatsoever that shows that lifting the trail foot helps you produce speed. So let's just put that out there, that until somebody shows me science that a 2-inch lift of the foot is helping you produce speed on either side of the body, lead leg or trail foot, none of that's helping you produce speed. It's actually probably increasing your ability to produce speed. And here's why. Because speed comes from the upper body. It comes from the arms, shoulders, and hands, right? It comes from your arms producing speed. It's not coming from your feet. Stability comes from your feet. So if you're more stable, you can apply the force of the arms and hands and the club to the ball in a more consistent way. Keep that in mind. If anybody's teaching you to lift the foot, they're allowing that variability for you, and that variability is not helping you, it's adding one more variable. The best ball striker in the world, Mo Norman, had his foot on the ground. It was flush or rolled. He did it both ways, but either way, it was limiting pelvis movement, even though the pelvis was open, so he could maximize the hands and arm efficiency through impact. Anyway, that was some detail in this video about how the body stabilizes and what I call the braking system, how the body stops as you move. One final thing is you practice this. All you have to do, here's where you start. All you have to do is do this easy. Try this at first. Hit some balls or just make some swings. I want you to have some lead foot rotation and learn to make some swings with that foot on the ground, and it's going to free up the upper body to produce speed. You want to feel the upper body producing speed. Then add some side bend to your body and then do it. All I want you right now is working on lower body stability and upper body side bend, and work on that, and tell me that doesn't help you get more consistent and become a better ball striker. Thanks for joining me today, and by the way, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're interested, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.